guys, it's Hollie here for PlayStation Access, and I am in Paris to check out Watch Dogs. But today we have a special video. For those of you who've been tuning into the channel, you'll have noticed recently we asked you guys to submit your questions to the developers. So today, in this interview, we'll only be asking your questions to the team at Watch Dogs. All right, guys, we're going to start with your community questions. We had over 1,000 questions, which is insane. But instead of asking you all 1,000, we've selected just a few. So I'm going to try and say your usernames as well. So apologies if I get them wrong. Okay, to kick off, FunnyStone64 would like to know the PS4 resolution and frame rate.
Frame rate is pretty steady and excellent. As far as the resolution goes, like we're still fine-tuning those things, like up to the very last seconds. It looks great, like people will have the chance to play it and see it by themselves. But we're still fine-tuning those things with the programmers right now.
Perfect. Okay, Hitman Hunter 100 would like to know how long is the game?
The game is pretty long. There are different ways to look at it. I would say a typical player who, based on playtests, like combines main story and a bit of free roaming, will hit pretty easily 35 to 40 hours.
Wow.
A guy who really wants to do everything, which I'm trying to do right now, it goes over 100 pretty easily. So it's a pretty dense experience.
Okay, DonBro69, what are you doing specifically for the PlayStation 4 controller?
Actually, it's mainly the touchpad that we're using in a different way. Like we're just using it for the map, so I don't think we're doing something really spectacular with the touchpad or anything like that. But you can use it to activate the map and also navigate it if you want, or you can still use the stick in an old school way if you want to.
Okay, Cristian Perez wants to know, is the map an exact replica of Chicago? He happens to live there.
Some of the parts are extremely deja vu moments, but we did take some liberties simply for gameplay's sake. Yeah. Like, Chicago is the most surveilled city in North America, but it's still not completely crafted to be acted by Aiden Pierce in the perfect way. So we did take our liberties and shrinked it and tied it up to make sure it was as dense as possible.
Cool, but you'll recognize some bits when you're playing. Mads Nicholson, can you kill NPCs? Which is a bit brutal, but he wants to know.
Of course.
There you go. Nice, simple answer. S. Ahmed wants to know, are NPCs customized in any way? So will you have a different experience to me when I'm playing?
In terms of NPC customization?
So maybe if I do something, will the NPCs be different in a different location to you?
Yes, it kind of links to the previous question. When you play in a certain way, if you want to kill NPCs, for example, or not, we have a reputation system, and it's kind of a reflection, or let's say a memory of the simulation of the game. So the media will talk about you in a different way, which means people around listen to the media, and then that colors a little bit the way they react to you. So you could end up with people like going up to a point where they know where you are and they know who you are, but they don't necessarily want to spoil your presence to the cops because they believe in your cause. But you can also be the loose cannon guy where people is going to be scared of seeing at you and call the cops a lot more. So it depends entirely on how you play the game.
Okay. Next question. Harry would like to know, does your notoriety decrease over time, or will you always stay very hunted and feared if that's the way you played?
There is an EAT system. Like that's the thing that people might have seen in videos, like under the map. Like it's kind of similar to a star system, but it has a memory to it. So instead of saying it's the moment, like the second moment, and that's it, you're not like starting a crime and then fighting to get more stars and that kind of stuff. It's more like every time you do something questionable, it's like people are talking to each other. It's like that kind of media type of metaphor where the EAT can come up even though they don't call the cops. It's two distinctive things. Someone might not have the balls to call the cops in front of you, but still the EAT is climbing up. And depending on how strong is the EAT level, when they do call for the cops to arrive, that kind of dictates and defines how strong the reinforcement's going to be.
And next question, Jessica B would like to know, will the game change depending on how you play it? So will the game play differently if I play good or if I play evil?
They'll definitely play differently and feel different on the second level, on the simulation, but we're not going into one of those like split narrative story type of thing. Not that I don't like that, did that in the past, but it can be a pain to do. And also, I think we're looking at it differently. Like I said it a couple of times, for me, Watch Dogs is more like a painting. It's a finished piece of work from a narrative standpoint, but we crafted the entire experience in the simulation so that you can define your own experience with it, so that when you look at the final product and you finish the game, hopefully you look at it based on how you played and interact with Aiden, craft your own perception of that guy and how he came along through the entire story. And instead of trying to separate, all of the perception possibilities of your brain to 6 or 7 bullet points, which would be a bit insulting.
Yeah. Lewis would like to know, how much customization is there for Aiden's clothes and weapons?
There's quite a few on the clothes, like you can change outfits quite a lot if you want. You just have to spend in-game money for that kind of stuff. You can also, we have a car on demand kind of apps where you can actually use license plates around, like send that to a contact who can actually do questionable things with cars, and then afterwards provide them to you, so you can spend money to collect all the cars and then have them ordered to you nearby all the time. We're not going for like car tuning or guns tuning. We're more focusing on the amount of those things. And there's a lot of strategy involved, also combining all of that with the hacking.
We're getting there. Okay, one of my favorite usernames, Hotcross Bums, would like to know, how big is the variety of vehicles you can drive?
I think it's around 70. Wow. We have quite a few different type of vehicle, like off-road, like 2-wheel drives, like boats, all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay, I don't even know how I'm going to say this. Adzzzzzt with 5 Zs at 1. Can you buy and customize cars?
Like I said previously, you can buy cars, you can buy them to order them as you want, but you cannot like customize them, like to change their tuning, anything like that. We wanted to make sure that every car feels different though, so if you pick up a muscle car, if you pick up like a speed, like agile car, it's gonna feel very different when you drive them.
MrRobbrecht would like to know, how long does it take to travel from one side of the map to the other?
Every time like that, I receive that question a lot. and the thing is, I'm gonna, to the end, not answer that one. And what I mean by that is, I never really go from one spot and drive to the end for many different reasons. Watch Dogs is a pretty big city, but, and I said quite a few times, it's not the biggest city ever done. And there's a reason for that. Like when you build an open world, space is an important thing you need to define. If you're just like going for the size war, and then you play the game and you just go from A to B and there's nothing to do, I think you're wasting your time putting efforts on the wrong thing. So for us, it was all about density and depth. So it's pretty big, but it's definitely the deepest and the richest like city you've ever seen in a game before.
Amazing. Tirawm, I've even said that right. Do you have safe houses in the game? And if so, can you have different ones?
Yes and yes.
There you go.
Question,
nice and simple.
You can definitely unlock more hideouts, and you can use them to teleport if you want. You can use them to go to sleep, which kind of resets the eat system I talked about before, and also change the time of day to your liking, because some of the hacking tools, let's say, are more efficient at night than in the day, that kind of stuff.
Interesting. Also, Asheim says, what kind of multiplayer modes are there?
Oh, there's quite a few. Well, as you might know, like we're really focusing on having a seamless experience in terms of online, so making sure that everybody that's playing the single player experience can still, like as a surprise, live something that goes with other players. We have a few different ways of doing that. Like one of them is the hacking, which I think most people know by now, where you can go into someone else's game, stalk them, hack them, and grab some information, which gives you rewards afterward. You can do the same with tailing, where the difference between the two is hacking is there's an inevitable point where you engage in hacking the other, and the other guy's gonna know that you're there. So it's kind of push confrontation. The second one, tailing, is he doesn't necessarily know you're there. It's just like a bit more pervert type of weird, like I'm gonna watch that guy for a while. He doesn't know I'm here, and then I'm gonna leave, and then next thing I'm gonna know, I'm gonna do the same thing he did, and then I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, there's someone watching me as well. That creates that kind of paranoia thing, so that's a different one. Then there's more classic one that you can also access in a more seamless way, so you can race with other players in the world. You can also do there's a team versus team mode that you can have. This one is on the next gen version only, where you can actually seamlessly go from one contract to another, and next thing you know, you're working with other players against other players. And once you stop that, you just turn the corner and do a single player mission. It kind of feels pretty weird the first time you do that. And that's pretty much it.
That's amazing. Badcall would like to know, will there be a free roam multiplayer?
There is, actually, funny enough, that's the one I didn't mention. The free roam is a bit different though. Like I know people are, when they read free roam, they have a certain like image in mind. The thing is, for the free roam, first it was more small bonus. Like we had that conversation, I think it's a year or two ago, where we're like, why are we always doing modes that they're extremely structured. Like players like to be guided to do some activities together, but we never put this. There's the city there. Us, when we build the game, we can have all sorts of weird funs together without any rules. The free roam is kind of that, so don't expect missions and side activities and that kind of stuff. For us, it's a bonus where we give you like the game. You can decide whether or not you're friends or enemies with the people you are with, and then just grab a pen and paper, just decide what the hell you want to do with it, and have some fun. So it's almost R&D for us to see how players are going to start interacting with each other and what kind of stuff.
There could be some really cool stuff like on the Twitch, PlayStation 4, share that, people can jump in, do some,
exactly.
That could be really interesting. Yeah. I don't even know I'm going to say this. Aiden would like to know, in the multiplayer, how do you know if someone is in your world, and can you turn that feature off if you don't want people in there?
You will know most of the time, because hacking, I expect hacking to be quite popular, but the way it works, like to the second question, I can right away say yes, because that one is easy to do. You can definitely go in the menu and then turn off the feature. But don't do that. Like not at least not at the beginning. Try it before. The way it's designed is to make sure you don't get invaded all the time. So first of all, we track how interested you are to the feature. So if you invade other players, it increases the chance that you get invaded afterwards. There's a kind of a shield underneath the system that gives you some like around an hour of break when you're free roaming. And if you invade a lot, that shrinks. If you don't invade at all, like then that grows in time, so that we don't bother you with that. The goal is to make it as organic as possible, so that players don't feel like they're getting all the time like invaded for nothing. So that's kind of the idea behind it. Kind of auto-balance itself if you want.
That's really interesting. That's really good to know. So there you go. Give it a try. Don't worry. You're not going to be invaded every 5 minutes. Alexande would like to know, how will you be able to make your own character in multiplayer? So will there be any customization?
It's you have hidden in the option the possibility to do that. The reason why it's hidden in the option is people don't realize it yet, but we're doing seamless with every single players, so everybody's Aiden Perez. But in the end, I think the idea is just we use the reality of one player to create another reality to another player, which means that the only thing you can customize when you think about it is the appearance that you're gonna have for other players. Yeah. Because you're Aiden Perez in your game, but you're a civilian to the other. So if you don't want to look like an old woman with a machine gun type of thing, you can at least choose what you're going to look like to other players. But the old woman can be a nice trick to have people not know where you are.
Full sense of security. Not many more now. Luckychance would like to know, like, how does multiplayer work? Is it there will be a lobby, or is it just drop in, drop out, or is there a way to choose who you're with?
There's no lobby per se, like we kind of completely volcano that out of our game. We wanted to make sure it was as accessible as possible. So everything is done automatically. The way it works is you do have a way to demand online, like that's important. So you can go on the map and there's a thing we call the grid monitoring, where you can just press a button from the map and it switches to monitoring Chicago type of thing. And you have all the online modes there, so you can just on the press of a button request something, and then it just starts searching, and while you're doing that you can continue playing a game. And if it finds someone, you can just press a button and you go in. So that's as simple as that.
Wow, that is pretty simple. Henrik would like to know, is there going to be some kind of XP system in the multiplayer? And if so, does it unlock anything?
They are, like, the multiplayer and single player kind of have the same progression system. We are like using something called notoriety. So you can actually, every time you do online, you get notoriety, and then you can use that to unlock extra skills. But it's kind of a meter. It goes up and down. So if you lose notoriety, you can also lose that skills. So you have to be careful on how you play it out in the end.
Oh, that's quite interesting. And final, wow, Stjepan Jelovac. Hopefully. Will you be able to play online between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4?
No, we cannot play between the two for many different technical reasons. Sorry about that.
Well, there we go. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for taking time to answer the user questions as well, which are always really important to us. Thank you very much. We're going to go play now. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.